Hey guys, Joseph here. I'd like to talk about World of Warcraft, okay? A lot of people have been saying, the game's dying, which I guess say now it is going down. But I like to kind of reach out to a lot of the complaints that people have with the game when they go to another game like Final Fantasy 14 and a lot of other games as well. And that is I'm gonna tell you right now, I think some of the people who are complaining about these things, I think they're just burnt out on MMORPGs in general. And they go to Final Fantasy 14 and they're like, oh my god, it's a new world, and then get stuck in the same things that they hate about WoW. Now, one thing I've got to mention as well, there's a few complaints, and one of them was time gating. Okay, time gating. Let's talk about time gating first. Okay, um, people complain about time gating, like how Blizzard were dragging out content effectively, for like week by week and stuff like that, and a storyline came up by week as well. You can do it all one day and stuff like that. And I'm like sitting there going like, dude, WoW storyline hasn't been very, very good for a long time. But I can understand the loot being time gated and stuff like that. But the thing is, I'll tell you this right now, time gating has existed since vanilla and WoW, okay, and BC. Like I'll tell you right now, it didn't pop up overnight, okay? Like you can't get suddenly attuned for everything in BC from the get-go. That just doesn't happen. You still have to put quite a big time effort in clearing heroics. And also for the Neverwing dailies as well, that was also time gate. Orgrimmar, time gate. Shatara Skyguard, also time gate. I mean, Muru to gates, the I think it's fourth and fifth and sixth gates of Sunwell, also time gate based on the efforts and dailies and stuff like that. But nothing was complained about back then because I'm not sure if it was overlooked or if just people had lot more time. So when anyone mentions time gates, like look at Final Fantasy 14 and every other single game that has a similar time gate, which is New World, also has a time gate. And I sit there going, nah, this seems to be a staple of MMORPGs is that they will take a lot of your time and they may waste your time as well. They're time waster games for a reason. That's why you grind it out to get better stats for some sort of aspiration. The next part is, I think it's targeted at gameplay wise, with like WoW having poor gameplay and clunky mechanics. WoW has, I can tell you right now, and like 1 and 2 button rotations. Yeah, WoW does have like 2 to 3 button rotations, but it's probably one of the most fluid game styles, I'm going to say, compared to a lot of other games where it's a very convoluted rotation and stuff like that and requires some actual thought into it. WoW hasn't been like that for a long time. I think since MOP, WoW has been just a fast pass, faster, quick hitting rotation kind of thing. And it's been that forever. Like, it's been that kind of forever. And the thing is, like, even though the gameplay is very, very good and very, very fluid, the thing is that everything is solved from the get-go. Like, your best spec is solved within a couple of days. Like, it isn't done, like, over months, or, like, people are just hoping on talent choice and stuff like that, or just going off, whoever's got the best talent pool on the top guild or anything like that. Everything can be calculated and basically efficient and maximized to max. Like, you're seeing this now in BC, where like some of the top specs have seal twisting and other little techniques like that never even existed in BC and vanilla. I can tell you that now, never even existed. Okay, it wasn't even considered at all in BC and vanilla, because I played some of those classes and never heard of it. Okay, never heard of, not even from the top guys, not even from elitist jerks back in the day. And basically everything in the game solved very, very quickly. Okay, and that's another complaint. I would probably talk about that later. Gameplay, I'm gonna say, like, it's been very fluid, very easy to pick up, and very easy to keep going. The thing is, like, people say there's like 1, 2, 3 button rotation, not kind of realizing that they use a lot of other cooldowns and other stuff in the arsenal as well. Like, if you can't use the full kit of your character, you do not get very far in WoW. Like, you can't just hit the same 3 button rotation and bam, you get all 15s done. You gotta use your Chaos Nova, you gotta use your Imprison, you gotta use your Silent Sigil, you gotta use your Fear Sigil. You can't go in there using just 3 buttons and that's it. It just doesn't work. And a lot of people symbolize to that, but WoW's gameplay is actually very, very good, and probably one of the best aspects as well as their gameplay. Like, their story and everything else is pretty lackluster compared to WoW's gameplay. WoW's probably one of the best MMORPGs that you're going to play in gameplay selection, okay, compared to any other MMORPG out there, which has clunky combat, too many abilities, and just sometimes just utterly stupid in general. The next part we'll talk about, which is going to be, as I said before, I just completely forgot what I was going to say. It was going to be about the class balance as well. I can tell you now, any MMORPG is never going to have any class balance as long as calculators exist and DPS rotations and, you know, raid bots and stuff like that exist. You're never going to have one class that's good. Like, you're never going to have the equilibrium or any balance, because every boss fight's different. Every boss fight favors a different class. I mean, if you have 4 bosses, every single dot class will be put in there because, you know, since a dot class can put 4 dots and it maximizes DPS on 4 different targets, you're never going to beat them, okay? Like, it's always going to happen, especially if they can be cleaved together. You're probably going to get, you know, certain classes in there over other classes who have a more cleave-oriented set or anything like that as well. And also, you're going to have your 1 monk and 1 demon hunter and stuff like that as well. They try to pseudo-shuffle people in. Now, of course, there's obviously going to be the, not offset, the outlier where the person can perform their role to an unbelievable manner more than most people and can beat out these natural advantages that other classes have. You know, 100% that can happen. I mean, Trill's probably one of those players as well. Now, from the other point of view as well, basically people taking the piss out of the gameplay, and I'm sitting there going like, nah, man. Like, sometimes just certain classes have that advantage, and I can tell you right now, all classes can't possibly be balanced at the same time. It's just impossible, even with WoW having too many classes at the moment. Some people talk about jobs and stuff like that, you know, in Final Fantasy 14, how they're all equal. They are not. The reason why they're not, because they don't allow DPS meters, but I can tell you damn well, there's probably some jobs that I'd rather have than the other jobs that actually perform well on the DPS meters. I'm going to just tell you that now. And it's probably used by, like, the top guilds to do that as well. And by the way, this video is not to defend WoW at all. It's to really just stop the people who are just saying WoW is a shit game. Who just basically are just tired of MMORPGs, and it's not even anything to do with WoW, okay? Not even anything to do. I just don't want to play an MMORPG. So time getting of loot with getting a 252 once per week, and some people have complained about it as well. I feel like that's like kind of a pseudo award for doing your stuff once a week at least, compared to the old standard in MOP and Wrath of the Lich King and BC and Kata, where you had to do your dailies every single day or nothing happened. I believe, I'm going to tell you right now, Shadowlands had that just then, and obviously it's one of the worst patches with Corfia where there was really nothing. It was just Times Isle plus BC dailies, and it was pretty poop, to be honest. Like, even with the new rare encounters, the current rare encounters, it was pretty bad. You know, let's just be honest, just awful. And yeah, you know, I'm going to say it's awful. Now, with the gameplay style as well, you know, combat, not bad, but the main gameplay style that's really bad is the conduits and the covenants, okay? And also the lack of tier sets. The legendary stuff is really good. I think I enjoy that. It's a good, unfortunately, it's a big gold sink. I think they need to make it less of a gold sink, and they really need to put more agency on it, that the people can change their, like, legendaries and not spend like 200k gold on it, because that's not cool. And I know this is their intentional gold sink, so people have less gold in the economy, okay? So they need to do that because they fucked that up during WOD, where everyone's got too much gold. Now, on the other hand, conduit energy is probably one of the worst things they've added, because, you know, they restricted gameplay because they can, and that's generally a really poor reason to restrict your gameplay. Conduit energy should have never existed in the first place, and thank God they hot fixed it. Covenants, they should have been interchangeable since day one. I don't have any idea why Blizzard don't pull the ripcord since day one. Just let people experiment different playstyles and stuff like that. And, you know, trust me, your game will get better, okay? Like, make the game good, okay? Don't focus on the dollar signs. Make your game good before you focus on the dollar signs. And I think Blizzard at the moment have got it all wrong. They're focusing on the dollar signs before they think of the game, because the game is pretty plop on the back end, like the quality of life and agency, where, like, at the start of expansion, you couldn't farm for the item you wanted. You were relying on a weekly chest to get the item you wanted. However, with Valor upgrades, they changed that. And I reckon in the future, they should think of making a game playable before releasing a game, because you can't release a game half-assed and expect half your base to be here. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to get into the situation where every time you do this ripcord stuff, everyone's going to be like, hang on a second, they're just doing it now because they're losing something, they want something from me, and they're not going to resub, okay? Like, the person will be jaded that you decide to fix everything, a patch into it, rather than fixing everything at the start and releasing a good game at the start. And that's what gets people thinking that you're caring about the money rather than the gameplay. And you need to change that fast, like, you know, very quickly, because the combat's good. It's just the other systems are just really bad, like, just really bad. It seems like you're rehashing the same system over and over again. And the system was plop in the first place, so stop. And yeah, there was a few good systems and there's a lot of misses. I mean, contour energy being one. What else was a bit of a miss on Shadowlands as I just, pummel it down as well. But yeah, those were a lot of misses as well of Shadowlands. Overall, Shadowlands is a pretty decent game. Like, it's pretty decent over some expansions. But it's just a lot of the quality of life features really let it down. There's no agency and stuff like that, which really, really hurts it. What else? Anyways, guys, that's probably going to be it about my discussion about WoW. There are a lot of things wrong with it, but a lot of things good about it as well. And I feel like a lot of people who are latching on to, basically Final Fantasy 14 and other games, you guys could enjoy that game as well. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, you're going to have the same issues that you're having now if you feel time gating and stuff is going to be an issue. Because I even see some people complaining about it now who are playing Final Fantasy 14 that there's a big time gate in the middle of it. I'm like, yep. All these MMOs had these similar things where they time gate content because they don't want everyone to complete the content at the same time. Pretty much it. Anyways, guys, have a great day.